Hello, everyone. This is, I can't believe this. This is podcast number 10, um, which, you know what, last night we were on a call with MS4MS, which is, I try to represent, I'm an MS ambassador, MS warrior for mission stadiums for multiple sclerosis. And Sam Greenberg has been a tremendous support system for us, and especially for this podcast. He make sure we blast it out as soon as we do one. But so yeah, this is episode 10, and I want to say thank you to my son Michael and my wife Michelle, who pushed me to do this. I wanted nothing to do with this in the beginning, and here we are. And this is a outstanding organization, mission stadiums for multiple sclerosis, where there are different events. That either are fundraisers where all the money goes towards either Johns Hopkins and their Project Restore, if I'm saying it correctly, to their MS center and other MS warriors that need help. There's always something that is going on to raise money for multiple sclerosis, and this is my foundation that I am an MS ambassador for. So anyway, today I want to talk about something that's pretty sucky. Cognitive dysfunction. And it's, for me, it's a huge part of how my MS symptoms started. And I think the word cognitive, for some people, is confusing. For those without MS, it's confusing. For those with MS, it's confusing. So I just busted out the old Google of cognitive and what that means. So the definition of cognitive is mental activities, thinking, reasoning, remembering, imagining, learning words. When you have cognitive dysfunction, which is for me, a huge part of my MS, it creates so many issues. And I personally believe that for me, it's memory. It's my ability to process thinking is another function, another big part of it. For me, I believe personally that cognitive dysfunction and fatigue are they kind of overlap. I don't know where one leaves, the other one comes in. At times it's fatigue triggers my cognitive dysfunction. At other times, cognitive dysfunction triggers my fatigue, and I'm not sure what how that works. Back when I was still attempting to work, it was a combination of, I told the story about 9 o'clock in the morning being pulled over on Route 287 in Piscataway, and having to just be sound asleep, falling asleep because I was on my way to an appointment, a sales lead, and I just could not stay awake while driving. And for me, a huge part of cognitive dysfunction is just processing, when I'm driving the other cars. Sometimes just being in a car and driving too far creates issues for me, where I have this called bubblehead, foghead. There's a movie, the first Men in Black, which was back in the 90s, I think, with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. There's a scene where aliens, there are these people that are they're like Men in Black are like alien police, so they're intercepting aliens coming into the planet. And there's this farmer, Edgar, who's out there doing work on the farm, and the aliens abduct him, and they take his body and they wear it. And I used to joke and say, because his wife would sit there and say, it's like they're wearing an Edgar suit. They took Edgar's body and put it on them, and now he's all, rah, 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 rah. That's the way you feel when you have cognitive dysfunction sometimes. Like I used to say, I'll wear my Edgar suit, and that was from Men in Black. Anyway, um, it's they say it's the lesions. For me, I have lesions on my brain and I have lesions in my spine. Um, it's where the lesions are supposedly. Um, I'm not sure I buy that because a lesion is where when something has got so bad in the nervous system that it actually is scars the area. I think that's a very untechnical way to describe it. But if your nervous system is being demodulated anyway, who's to say that you're not affected as it's happening? So who knows? I don't think they know. What they don't know about this disease is a lot. So cognitive dysfunction. Again, back when I was doing sales, whether it was falling asleep, sitting there trying to read a computer screen, um, trying to walk and talk, all of a sudden it would be like I had my they call it cognitive fog or bubblehead. Um, it put me in the hospital for 5 days years ago, and they didn't know what the heck was wrong with me. So, and they found it's funny because when I'm in the hospital, after having these issues, they found a lesion on my brain, and at the time, because we had started to see a Lyme disease doctor, they thought it said it was blamed on Lyme disease. Well, you have a lesion because of Lyme disease. I never tested positive for Lyme disease. It was, what's the word? When you don't know what's the word? When you're inconclusive, right? Inconclusive, that's the word. So anyway, I spent 5 days in the hospital. They found a lesion. The stupid doctors decided it was from Lyme disease, even though I was never tested positive for Lyme disease. And this was, several years or a few years before I actually got diagnosed with MS. And so after, I want to move forward, because if you have MS and you have cognitive dysfunction, for me, my case is very confusing because a lot of people have relapsing remitting MS where there will be episodes where you have relapses and you're experiencing your symptoms, and cognitive fog is one of them. For me, it was if you don't realize, relapsing remitting one day will become secondary progressive MS, where it's constant symptoms. The level of severity of those symptoms will depend, and that's where it was confusing for me. I'm currently living with primary progressive MS, where at first they thought I had I just crossed over and I was secondary progressive MS, but it come to find out later on that it never was. I was always primary progressive, which makes sense. One of the things that I learned early on um, about managing my energy, managing my day, was they teach you in cognitive therapy the spoon theory. I learned uh, let's call it the money theory because I think it made more sense. So, and it's easier. I think it's easy for us to associate. We have to have a system for everything. I believe that if you're disciplined and you understand how something works. Like for me, for example, if you had $1, and in that for the $1 worth of energy for the day, um, and you understood that. I remember in therapy they made make a list. Say, all right, well, how much of that dollar does taking a shower take out of it? So I would, 15 cents, let's say. How much does load the dishwasher take out of it? 5 cents. How much does riding the exercise bike take out of it? 20 cents. So your goal was, not to go over that dollar, and to stop and rest well before you hit that dollar. So you understood where you were at. I conditioned myself in it was almost 2 years of therapy and we did a lot more besides that, but I had to understand what things drained me. Um, now, I think that was good because now, as my disease has progressed, and I'm living with primary progressive MS, realize that um, I don't have a day's worth of $1. I may have several hours of $1 worth of energy, and that money gets used up quickly. If I know that every day, I gotta point out because I feel like I'm freaking rambling here. I know that every day I wake up 4:30, 5 o'clock. For me, because of having 6, 7 hours sleep, whatever it is, that is the best time of day for me. Um, doesn't mean it's perfect. Doesn't mean I'm going to go out and try to, walk around the block. But it means that, okay, that time of day is when, if you're feeling pretty shitty, that time of day is the shittiest, the less shitty feeling that I have. So, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, there's nobody up. So it's awesome as far as I'm concerned. I use, um, I feel like I'm at my mental best. Um, I wish somebody was up because if we had to have a logical conversation about something, I could probably do it. Um, and I use that time to do, I exercise, I meditate, I stretch, I charge my spinal cord stimulator for my back, which helps with pain. But I don't talk, um, and that's one of the things that I realize, unplugs me is talking. The other thing, which also I realized, I went to Kessler Institute a few years ago. They had a research study that they were looking for participants with cognitive issues. So they actually sent an Uber. I went up there, and they made me um, go online. They had a computer, so they made me go online, and with a fake credit card, I had to go through and order a pizza from Pizza Hut. I had to choose my toppings, put my name and address in, my phone number, place my order with my toppings, use the credit card. Well, um, oh my God. See, talk about cognitive crap. I'm just trying to remember what they had me do, and it's like somebody's unplugging me right now. I'm getting my Edgar suit on. So, anyway, I was literally asleep on the keyboard at Kessler Institute. Um, I had to do this and then come back and answer a series of questions. And they tell, like every other cognitive therapist, they tell you a story with a bunch of details. You got to remember it. Um, Holy crap! I was asleep, sitting there, trying to remember the story and repeat what they told me, um, which goes to processed thinking. Um, Unfortunately for me, and it sucks in this day and age, everything is the everything is online. Everything is, you gotta search it. Um, Even yesterday, talking to my son, yesterday I had to, we did our taxes and I had to make a payment to the IRS, and I realized that um, you were not going to be around. You're starting back working tomorrow. Um, I was going to have to make 5 more payments besides the one I made yesterday, and if we attempted to do this online, which you suggested to me, I realized, and that's from conditioning, that um, for me to try to remember how to do that, even if I had to read directions on how to do that, for me to actually go online and do that, the process of doing that would unplug me, and then I wouldn't be able to do other things. And it was easier for me to just get a check, make a copy, mail it. Boom. I don't have to think. I could just do that. But if I had to start researching shit online, trying to make a copy of it, copy and paste, all that stuff, that process would destroy me. Um, it does, and unfortunately, it makes you feel like a big dope these days. It does, because our whole world is turning into this. Everything's online. Cut and paste this. Just download this form. Um, Go on the website. I couldn't even go order a friggin' pizza. That's what it's done to me. Where it's like somebody unplugs you. So um, I feel like I'm rambling here, but going back to how to manage this. For me, it's again all about routine. All about making sure I'm familiarity. Am I saying that right? Um, if I get out of my zone where I go to someplace I don't know, I have to think and process that. Um, it just beats the crap out of me. I get my gait becomes off. I'm very dizzy. Um, it affects, cognitive affects my physical. I already walk with a cane and a walker, but the cognitive and the fatigue affect me physically. Unable to move at times because of that. So yeah, cognitive affects physical, and physical affects cognitive. Blah blah blah. Yeah, and now a different part of this, which is memory, memory and other issues. Which I talked about the morning being my best period of time. Well, my cognitive issues also have to do with memory, mostly long-term memory. Um, Long-term memory when maybe my disease had started and I wasn't being treated. Um, I tell a story. I wrote a book a few years ago, but I told the story in the book about. Um, I remember me and my wife talking about. I went to the doctor for something, and I walked out of the doctor, and there was an Italian restaurant there. I think it's Anna's Italian Kitchen or something like that in Middletown. And I remember being on the phone, and I called my wife. I said, "Hey, remember we were talking about going to Anna's Italian Kitchen? I found it. It's right here." And she's like, "Yeah, I know. Like we went there 3 months ago, and we had dinner." And I had absolutely no idea that we were there. It was like, for me, it was like it was brand new. I was seeing this place for the first time. I didn't even know we were there. Um, for me, the same thing happens now that my disease is advanced. I talk about the morning being the best time. It's probably about a month and a half ago, roughly. Um, I was standing at 5:30 in the morning in our kitchen window, and all of a sudden I saw headlights in the window, and all of a sudden I thought I was back in our old house, and I was trying to figure out which neighbor was leaving to go to work at that time. And it probably about 5+ minutes went by, and I was sitting there like I seriously thought I was at my old kitchen window in my old house, and I'm trying to figure out who was leaving for work at that time. Um, just yesterday, and my daughter, she hates school lunches, hates eating lunch they make her eat lunch like 10:30 in the morning. So I packed the kids, some snacks. She always insists on a peanut butter jelly sandwich. She wants every day. She eats a peanut butter jelly sandwich every day. I don't know how she does it, but I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting at the open refrigerator, and I knew I'd made this peanut butter jelly sandwich and put it in there the day before. And I'm sitting there with the drawer open, and the peanut butter jelly sandwich isn't there. And I was pissed. I'm like, you know what? She ate this freaking peanut butter jelly sandwich, and it's not even like she's not even going to school yet. Like, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, how did this happen? And I know I made it. I knew it was there. Well, I always put lunch bags on the counter. So I had taken the peanut butter jelly sandwich out already, put it in a different bag, and didn't realize it. It was there the whole time. But I did not remember doing that, and I went back looking for it, and I was, for again another 5 minutes or so, I was like pissed about this peanut butter jelly sandwich not being in the bag. Um, and for those of you without MS, for those of you that are older, I know you're going to say, oh, chalk that up to old age. I'm really sorry, but bullshit. There's a difference between that and being completely lost about where you are, what you've done, not having any recognition about it. That is the type of memory loss that I'm talking about having. Um, it's sometimes it's short term. I said before, it's also long term. I don't know that you could put a label on it. It's just memory loss. And it's part of cognitive dysfunction. That's what I live with, every day. Man, I am like all over the place. Reading. So, I remember a few years back, this is where I think I mentioned planning and routine are so important for me anyway. Maybe it will be for you when you have this fatigue and cognitive dysfunction. I know my house. I know myself. I know what I can do and what I can't. And I condition myself to do it. But I remember, a few years ago. How many years ago was Aunt Kelly and Uncle Pete's wedding? That was
2016.
Okay, so 7 years ago, roughly.
Yeah.
I mean, God, they're 4 kids now. They got 4 kids. But they were getting married, and I was, still dealing with fatigue and issues, not to the level I am now. But our goal was, we had a plan of, everybody in our family was in the wedding. So the kids were in the wedding, my wife was in the wedding, and the wedding was in Pennsylvania. So we knew we were going to have to go stay away at the hotel, and for me, the fear of doing that is just tremendous, and what it does to me, because I don't like being in that place. But we had a plan, and we had a plan about resting, we had a plan about rooms, we had a plan, and it just, all of a sudden, everybody was getting, ready in the room we were in, and I couldn't rest, and I got unplugged. That was an issue. I did make it to the wedding. I saw them get married, thank God. And but one thing I didn't account for was, after they got married, was immediately the the cocktail hour before the reception. And so during the cocktail hour, everybody wants to talk to you, and somehow I didn't account for that. And when I'm talking, like I'm doing now, I'm losing my energy. And so by the time we actually got into the reception, I lost everything. And I ended up, I had to, they got introduced, but I had to go to our room, and I had to sleep. So I missed the entire dinner, reception, everything. Do you remember that? I wasn't around for the reception enough. I know you're busy, you're doing stuff, but
I don't know if I remember that.
I'm asking my son Michael. Yeah, I had to leave because I had to go to sleep, and I went up to the room and I slept for over 4 hours. And when I finally woke up and realized I got dressed, and I was trying to make it down to at least see some of it, and like literally as I was about to get in the elevator. You guys were all coming off the elevator.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I missed the entire. I was not at Kelly and Pete's reception at all.
oh shit.
I missed dinner. I missed everything. Um, it was, who knows how long I would have made it, but yeah, I blame it on the cocktail hour. I didn't anticipate for that. So, um, yeah, I don't. For me, it's all about routine. It's all about, you know, not experiencing the unknown. Um, it's not, years ago, you want to live life by to the fullest, and you want to have experiences, and you embrace, maybe not having so much structure at times, and just embrace just going with it. Um, I can't do that anymore. I can't just, go with what the moment brings us, because uh, it gets pretty scary for me. Um, even now, I can feel we're probably well over our time. How much are we in?
You're just reaching 27. This might be the longest one.
Yeah, I knew I was over. Mikey just told me it's the longest I've gone, and I'm feeling it right now. Where, yeah, I'm feeling like I gotta go to sleep. So, yeah, I don't like going here or getting here, because how you feel like you don't have control. You feel like you can't do much. So, yeah, this is cognitive dysfunction at its best, worst, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And episode number 10, I am out. Peace out, everybody.